I might get a little bit of heat for this, but I don't think that 80K was the bottom for Bitcoin. In today's quick weekend video, I want to give you an update as to what I am currently looking at, how am I currently trading this market, and of course, taking you through some of the most recent news in the industry. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, so let's get right into it. Taking a look at the Bitcoin price action, you can see that the trend did indeed change over the past few days. Now, what I mean by this is if you go on the 1 hour time frame, every single time that we had a big move to the upside over the past couple days, the move immediately retraced and we went lower. You can see it over here on Wednesday, big pump, rejection. Then on Thursday, big pump, rejection. And here we formed a little bit of a flat candle, which I'll talk about in today's video as well. But the point is another big pump from $84,500 up to around $89,400, a $5,000 move only to retrace. But this retrace was a lot less aggressive than the previous ones. So how should you be navigating this? Here's what I'm looking at. If Bitcoin is going to move lower out of here, I do not want to see us starting to get 4-hour closes above this candle, this massive red candle. The top of this candle is found right around $88,500. And you can see that it's starting to act a little bit as resistance. You can see every single time that we manage to get above, it's a wick. Get above, it's a wick. Get above, it's a wick. And so what I'm currently looking at is, are we going to see continued rejection here? Because this is no joke of a candle. And typically when we get flat candles like this, it does mean that we're seeing a lot of strength to the downside. That being said, as everyone's expecting us to roll over, including myself, you can see that the price is just chopping around here, and we are actually holding the pivot of this wick as support as I'm currently filming this video. Now, it is a Saturday, so I wouldn't attribute too much importance to the most recent price action that you're seeing. However, to put it as simply as possible, if Bitcoin starts to get closes above this level, $88,500, depending on which exchange you're looking at, I will be pivoting my strategy. And it's pretty much the same thing for the total crypto market cap. You can see that we did manage to grab this upside liquidity on these existing wicks. And if we are to close above that level, it would mean that we could go ahead and move higher out of here. Now, I don't want to make this a crazy bullish video because my trades suggest otherwise. I am currently shorting Solana, shorting Ethereum, and longing Bitcoin dominance. And if you didn't know, Bitcoin dominance essentially measures Bitcoin's performance against the rest of the crypto market. Typically, when we're in massive drawdowns, altcoins bleed more than Bitcoin. Therefore, Bitcoin dominance increases. That is why I've also been longing Bitcoin dominance on Bluffin. And you also know that I do have a Bitcoin long from the lows that I will keep on talking about simply because it gives me the right exposure in the market. This is the beauty with knife catching. I secured some very, very nice profits. And of course, I'm still holding on to some of that position in case I am wrong and Bitcoin just explodes out of here. But if Bitcoin is to move higher, I want to see us start getting 4-hour closes above $88,500, but more importantly, all the way up above $89,500. If we start to get closes above these levels, the reality is we're gonna grab that upside liquidity because you can see here that on the Bitcoin exchange liquidation map, there is tons of liquidity right around $91,000, although both cumulative short and long liquidation leverage are relatively even. On the 24-hour time frame, you can see that liquidity is built up on both sides, but if we go on the 2-week time frame, it should paint a pretty clear picture. And that picture is that there is some liquidity all the way up to around $91,000. So how do I navigate this? First and foremost, we need to see Bitcoin start closing above $88,500 and then ideally close above these wicks. Until then, I am still favoring a move lower for Bitcoin. And actually, even if Bitcoin is to go all the way up to say $91,000, I firmly believe that 80K is not the low. I have to put that out there because this is just short-term price action. Ultimately, bottoms take time to form, as I've been repeating myself over and over again. Now, taking a look at this chart, you can see that we are still very much in a downtrend. So it's funny that 91K level does coincide with a couple of wicks likely above this zone, which we got a few times since the highs ultimately continuing to confirm the downtrend. This isn't just a max bearish video. I'm talking about both scenarios and how I would be pivoting. But right now you can see that Bitcoin is showing a little bit of uncertainty, trying to surpass this level around 88.5K, but we're not getting closes above there quite yet. Ultimately, at this point in time, the market is looking weak, but as I also mentioned in this video, don't attribute too much importance to the weekend price action. By the way, if you want to know exactly how I am personally trading this market, remember that you have the first link in my description down below. It brings you to my free premium group. You DM me the keyword premium on Telegram, and I'd be happy to onboard you into that group. The second link in my description brings you to Bluffin, which is actually my go-to crypto trading exchange. And you can see that they also have a fantastic bonus over the holiday period, $1,000 on the table. Remember, that's the second link in my description down below. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin dominance. You guys are going to hate me for this, but I still think that this just keeps on climbing up, because whenever Bitcoin pumps, altcoins finally get a little bit of relief, but then as soon as we retrace, altcoins suffer more than Bitcoin. Therefore, Bitcoin dominance is likely to continue to increase, and I will continue to long Bitcoin dominance on Bluffin. However, taking a look here at the spot ETFs, I do want to bring this to your attention. We are starting to see more and more outflows. Yesterday, BlackRock seeing just under $200 million worth of outflows. But something else that you need to consider here is the fact that Binance are indeed continuing to sell. Binance Spot Delta is indeed hilarious, just straight red, they're continuing to sell. And unfortunately, the Coinbase premium did turn red. And we've been red for quite a while now. That's why we're getting this negative price action since rejecting right around that yearly open, which we've been keeping our eyes on for quite some time. As soon as we weren't able to break above here, on the second and third and fourth attempt, it was very, very clear that Bitcoin would move lower. So we grabbed the downside liquidity, that first pocket that we discussed, which is right around $87,800. Now we are just above that level, potentially trying to hold it as support. However, I still think that we tag this level, which is right around $83,800. And I also think that we will likely tag below $80,000. But we'll have to see when that occurs. Remember what I told you about the candles. I'm perfectly okay with just trading the market that's right in front of me. And so long as Bitcoin cannot confirm back above this 4-hour candle that we've been highlighting over the course of this video, I don't think that we will manage to just explode higher. However, as soon as we start getting closes above this candle over here that you're seeing, this big red candle, that's the point in time where I will go ahead and pivot my overall trading strategy. If you're just a spot holder, obviously you're probably just sitting on your hands. But what I want to get at is, even if Bitcoin is to move higher out of here or lower out of here, I do think that we will bottom in 2026, and that will probably bring Bitcoin back below $60,000. That might sound crazy to you right now, but it takes a while for these things to happen. And to be honest, the most likely trajectory, in my opinion, would be something like this. Bitcoin goes ahead and taps into these lows, which occurred during the tariff capitulation, and this would see Bitcoin probably back below $80,000. But from this region, we likely get a stronger relief rally, which I've been discussing time and time again on the channel. And this relief rally could actually take us all the way up to, at the bare minimum, this bull market support band, which brings us back above $100,000. Then from there in 2026, that's when I think that we will likely bleed lower and probably see Bitcoin start tapping into this zone over here, which could bring us back below $60,000. In the next few months, that's currently what I'm looking at. Remember, if Bitcoin goes down to these regions, it would be a massive opportunity in my opinion. Of course, nothing that I discuss on the channel should be construed as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy trading the market that is right in front of me and sharing his analysis every single day. But the point is, I'm trading the market, trying to make as much money as possible. And then when we do likely tap into these lows near the bear market lows, that's the point in time where I will deploy massively. And then it will allow me to be completely relaxed on the next parabolic run for Bitcoin. Let's talk about something very, very quick, because this really made me smile. Still amazes me how people miss some very obvious sell signals on Bitcoin. You see a bunch of posts like this on X, but this comment made me very, very happy. Nice. Did you execute? This is my mindset in this market. It frustrates me because you'll see so many posts on X, even on YouTube, crypto influencers talking about how, oh, it was so obvious. How could you not know this? And don't get me wrong, I have some pretty sensationalized titles and thumbnails, but every single video, I am just trading the market that's right in front of me. It's very easy to say something in hindsight. Oh, this happened. How did you not know that this could have happened? It was so obvious. Okay, did you trade it? No, didn't think so. There's a lot of people like this guy, I don't know him personally, that will come out and say, oh, the bottom is in, or it was so obvious. Okay, if the bottom is in, why aren't you going max long? Okay, if alt season is occurring, why aren't you piling into altcoins? That's what I thought. A lot of creators, I'm not saying it's necessarily this guy, I haven't really looked into him, but a lot of creators come out and they just spew absolute nonsense and they don't put money behind what they actually think is happening in the market. You can see every single day I come on here, I share my trades, how am I operating in this market? And although I don't enter a bunch of different trades every day because you're probably tired of me sharing the same exact trades that I'm simply just holding, that's how I've been trading this market. And at least I put money behind what I'm actually saying. And then on the flip side, we do have people like Tom Lee that are heavily invested into Ethereum, but they have these ridiculous price targets like $60,000 ETH soon. And by the way, in their crypto report, their crypto head actually thinks that there could be some meaningful drawdown in the first half of 2026, with Bitcoin falling to 60 to 65K, ETH falling to 1.8 to $2,000, and Solana dropping to between $50 to $75. Now, I wouldn't attribute too much importance to these kinds of predictions, but I actually do think they are relatively realistic based on what we've seen in previous bear markets. If this is your first bull bear market in crypto, don't be alarmed because we do end up running it back. Of course, not financial advice. I'm just sharing with you how I would be trading it. But the point is, you shouldn't be scared when you see these kinds of things, simply because if they are to occur, they should be viewed as massive opportunities, in my opinion, of course. And that sums up this quick weekend update. Ultimately, if Bitcoin starts closing above that massive red candle that we got on Thursday, that is when we should be looking for some potential continuation to the upside. However, right now with the market that's right in front of me, I am still leaning a little bit more bearish, although I'm not expecting too much to happen over the course of this weekend. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I have my bluffin leveraging tutorial right here if that interests you, and I'll see you in the next video.